Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to take a look at the third map of Ence's upset victory over NaVi, and this one's going to be on Mirage. Now, the very interesting thing I've noticed about Ence so far this major is that most of their upsets haven't come based entirely on individual play, but that they also play a very tactically and strategically sound style of CS with fantastic adaptations, and I think this game is really no exception. The way they initially start to take middle is actually pretty hard countered by the way NaVi likes to take middle, and they managed to adapt to that, and by the end of the half they managed to pick up a few gun rounds in a row based almost entirely on those adaptations. So what you're going to see here is they're trying to go for a fast mid-A split. They're going to be sending 2 towards Palace, 1 ramp, and 2 top mid, and they're going to be throwing deep mid smokes. That's the way Ence likes to take it. They throw a smoke towards window, and they throw a smoke towards connector, and they're going to try and molly connector behind the smoke to prevent what Simple does here, which is pick over that smoke. Now, unfortunately, they missed that molly, which means that Simple will find a shot off here at some point. However, the idea is to smoke deep in middle against passive teams. However, NaVi is doing exactly the opposite. They've smoked all the way at the top middle, they've mollied behind it, and they've got Flamey pushing up. Edward would be supporting from window here if there was no smoke in window, and Simple obviously is supporting from connector even over the smoke that was thrown in there. So you can see NaVi likes to take middle aggressively. This obviously counters the way Ence is taking it, which counters a more passive setup. So you're going to see them adapt a little bit later on in the game. One of the things I found interesting about this take, though, is that X7 actually throws a smoke or a flash over mid that lands behind his teammates. If they were out, this flash actually wouldn't blind either Ariel or Alu, who both throw their own flashes and try and push through this smoke. Unfortunately for them, though, the molly that's on the other side of the smoke that they probably thought was extinguished by the smoke at top middle is actually still there, so they basically end up killing themselves in that molly, and they end up losing the round at the end of the day. But the important thing to realize is this is how they initially take middle, and I'll show you how they change it up later on in the half. Now, ignoring the adaptations for a second here, Ence also runs very interesting and very creative strats that I don't see a lot of other teams run, which is why I say both tactically and strategically, they're very sound. This is a very solid B take that they're going to run here. They're going to triple Mac 10, and I want to note that this is not a force buy, this is kind of a soft buy, because they're almost on a 5-round loss bonus here, and they want to be able to buy up next round, but they can buy down just to whatever they need to be able to buy up in the following. So you're going to notice Alu buys quite a bit less than his teammates because he wants to buy up an op in the following, and Sergey, X7, Ariel, who are just going to be rifling, buy up a bit less. They're going to be going for a straight B rush. They're going to be holding on to 2 smokes here while they throw a couple towards get right and get left from T-spawn very quickly. And the 2 smokes that they're holding on to are for the double molly that NaVi threw earlier in the half. Now what you're going to notice that's very interesting is how Sergey jumps out towards window here. He's actually thrown a flash that lands behind him, and X7 threw, I believe it was X7, threw a flash that landed directly above as he jumped out. You can see it right there. That flash doesn't blind Sergey, but it'll blind a lot of people looking at him. And Sergey, along with his teammate here, Alu, are going to strafe hard behind the site and get quickly pushed up to try and get the kill on Zeus, which they will, and they'll get fast outside market control, and the round at this point is almost over. Even though Ence has very low utility, they've now got full control of B, they've managed to pick off the player rotating in on Cat, and they've put themselves in a great position to win the round. This is the type of play that just caught NaVi off guard. It was very coordinated, very fast, and it's the type of thing that I've seen very few teams run before. I mean, who triple Mac 10s against a full buy-up on round number 7? But it works, and it works primarily based on the surprise factor and the fact that they run with so crisp of timings. The flashes Sergey threw, the flash that came and landed over his head as he jumped out the window that didn't blind him. This is the type of thing I love to see. We're going to head a lot later in the half here. This is going to be round number 11, and Ence hasn't found any extra success since round number 7. What they're going to do is they're going to go for mid control here, and this is going to be their adapted mid control. They have lost mid once or twice following the previous round that I showed, so they now know that their setup and their style of taking mid is definitely countered by the way NaVi likes to take it. However, Ence realizes that mid is an incredibly important important area of the map, and just allowing your opponents to dominate it and have fast rotates through mid and be able to stack bomb sites and know where you're going much more easily is important to shut down. So they're going to go for mid control, except this time they're going to throw their same window smoke, but they're also going to throw a top mid smoke, and they're going to go very, very aggressively through to try and get actually control. They're going to push straight up, they're going to push straight through the smoke in mid, and they're going to spam the player in window, and they're going to get great positioning here. They're actually going to go straight up towards A after they get the second kill on Edward with Alu lurking, and they're going to run into a couple players ramp and just dominate this round. So you can see how they adapted their mid control there to play a little bit differently than they did before, with that smoke top middle and very fast push through the smoke, the counter smoke that NaVi throws at top middle, to try and prevent anyone from doing exactly what they did in some of the previous rounds, which was pushing aggressively up towards top middle with an AUG and with a smoke and a molly at top mid, as well as getting pushed up on Cat. That's the other way NaVi seemed to actually shut down Ence, was pushing up on Cat to actually shut down and get kills on Ence as they came out top middle, because Ence is a little bit delayed sometimes when they come out top mid. So what Ence is going to do in the round immediately following is a very fast A take. What they noticed in the previous round is that NaVi plays a guy close connector and they play a guy in window, and they've noticed earlier in the half that they play a guy up on Cat, which makes them think that probably NaVi is soloing a player towards A, and because Ence just took fast mid control, they're probably thinking that NaVi will try and counter and contest middle in this round. So they actually do a very unique take on A. So they've had the unique take on B with the triple Mac 10. Now their unique take on A, probably because they're thinking nobody's opping towards A given the way that NaVi has been playing. They've been playing simple towards middle. They're going to not smoke CT, and this is something I haven't seen before very many times. They're going to not smoke CT, and they're going to have Ariel here rush straight towards CT. They actually have someone throw a molly that's intended to land behind Ticket Booth. Unfortunately, the molly actually misses. That would push out Electronic if he hadn't been killed there by X7 at close ramp, and Ariel gets directly into CT. Unfortunately for him, he pulls out a molly at the exact wrong time, but I love the idea behind it. It's very unique. It's something that will certainly catch a lot of opponents off guard. I've never seen someone actually try and molly behind Ticket Booth on the fly there. He actually threw it from Tetris, if you saw the lineup, and pushed straight into CT rather than smoking it off. I guess they decided that it was a solo A setup there from Ence, or from NaVi, and NaVi was tripling mid, so they just wanted to get extra control. Instead of putting themselves in the situation where a retake is likely imminent or very possible from NaVi, Ence tries to get CT control, which makes that type of retake a lot harder. So as to not bore you with a lot of the same stuff, I'm going to skip the CT side here of Ence, the second half, and show you how they try and control mid on their CT side. Now, we are a few rounds in before anything interesting happens in middle, but I'm going to show you the way Ence takes mid here, and it's actually fairly unique as well. This isn't quite as unique as some of the other things they've done, but it's something that not every team does run. They're going to go with Ariel and Alu towards middle. Ariel is actually going to jump out mid, smoke underpass, and play in front of the smoke with support from Alu. Now, one of the things I want to note here, they're going to play Ariel here. They're going to molly the top mid boxes so Ariel can actually have a decent angle on this, and they're going to play up on Cat as well. Obviously, if mid was important for Ence on their T side, it's going to be important for Ence on their CT side as well, and they very clearly show that. Mid is important on this map. That's what Ence thinks, and I tend to agree with them. They've got this really weird setup here. Alu's looking top mid, Alexi B's helping top mid, and Ariel's just looking towards the bottom of mid, waiting for someone to come out underpass. It's a great setup, works very well together, and it shows how important they find mid control to be. Now, as the round progresses, players are going to come out bottom from underpass, and Ence just shuts this one down. You know, Edward tried to throw a flash from top middle. He didn't have any luck with that, and this round goes pretty clearly in Ence's favor. So you're going to see Ence do here is actually they're not going to play a player middle. They're just going to play a player Cat and give up middle and triple up A. So this is definitely a change up. They realize that just because mid control is important to them on this map doesn't mean they need to go for it every round, and that's true on both sides. But the main thing I want to highlight that's interesting here is actually on the NaVi side, and it's a little tidbit that you guys should find fairly interesting probably. They're going to throw a Molotov towards ramp, and they're actually going to throw a flash that lands at the bottom of ramp as they push up and double close ramp with rifles. Later on in the round, and I'll fast forward here, NaVi is going to see them doubling A with these rifles, and they're going to make note of that for a later round where you'll see this is very important. So the double rifles are here. The double rifles will certainly just, knock out NaVi. They're trying to go for some sort of A play. As the A play comes out, insta molly. Simple manages to find a kill because simple is simple. But you'll see, NaVi did notice both Sergey and Ariel were close ramp here. So again, doing a complete 180 from the thing I just mentioned that you should probably try and remember. Here's another very interesting thing that Ence does, and I just love the way they play. They're going to 4-man stack A. It's very interesting. Obviously, it's meant to throw their opponents off, and they're going to do a palace push with Alu here managing to find a kill on Flamey. They're giving up mid entirely, and they're just stacking A with a ramp push that's going to try and flank T-spawn, and they're just going back to cover mid later. I believe they found that NaVi hasn't put a lot of pressure on middle, and they found that this type of play might throw them off, might catch them off guard, and might, put them in a good situation later on in the half. Given that they've shown NaVi a lot of different looks now. They've tripled up A, they've doubled A, they've played a full push on ramp. They've done tons of different looks, and Ence is really kind of catching NaVi off guard, and I love the creativity in the way they play. This round, that ramp push, NaVi went for fast mid control. They didn't realize what was going on. They didn't flank A very quickly, and Ence just pushed straight through ramp, got that kill T-spawn, got a kill Palace, and then another kill Palace, and really caught NaVi off guard. NaVi was probably wondering what was going on because you generally don't see teams do a 4-man straight up stack A like that. So the next round I'm going to pick up here is actually round number 27, where Ence goes for something, again, very interesting. NaVi has shown in the previous round that they won the round based off of a heavy mid contest, so Ence is going to go for a 4-man mid. Now I want to pause here and mention that I'm not trying to portray this as something Ence does every round. I believe this is the second time in the half that Ence has played this player underpass. Unfortunately, I've just shown both rounds because I can't help but show this round given what happens at the end. The important thing is, NaVi had lost a few rounds in a row, and in the previous round, they actually won based on a heavy mid contest, so Ence is trying to recontest with the quadruple mid. Now, one other thing I want to mention that's interesting is Alu will not peek middle here until he gets flashed out because he had a terrible spawn. He realized that someone like perhaps Simple, who has an AWP, could have been posted on window from the very start or had a decent spawn and started posting on it, so he doesn't want to give up a free frag if he can help it, and he's going to wait for his teammate Alexa B, who's throwing a flash right now, to flash middle before he starts to post and support his teammate Ariel. Actually, I guess it's a different flash that Alexa B throws, but Alu's going to wait for the flash. There's the flash. Now he's going to post on the angle and try and support his teammate. Ariel has pushed up middle, gone for contest. He's gotten a kill. And unfortunately, things are going to go back and forth in middle here, and you're going to find your way into a 4v4. Now, this 4v4 is actually something else I find very interesting. Alexa B is going to throw this smoke here towards Cat, which blocks off the Cat push to prevent NaVi from heading fast up Cat, and also mask him getting quickly into ladder. So now Alexa B has made his way into ladder. Alu's going to eventually fall off the middle here as he's going to get mollied, and I really like this setup that Ence actually makes their way into. They're actually going to be playing double Cat and double CT. So Alu's going to run over and support his teammate at CT. Now you've got a double CT, and you've got doubled up Cat. So X7 here realizes that his teammate Alexa B is stuck in ladder. There's no way he's really getting out, and X7 has come to support to make sure that if Alexa B does get pressured in ladder, X7 can try and find a trade. It's actually going to play in late round because if Ence does go A, or if NaVi does go A, where Ence is going to play a very passive setup, Sergey's going to hide ticket booth, and Alu's just going to hold this, sight angle. If they try and go and plant for cat, you're going to have X7 and Alexa B here to double peek on that bomb planter. So it's a very cohesive setup here from Ence. They're playing a little bit weak towards the B side, but probably X7 would be able to find one kill and back off if they went there. And they're playing strong towards, mid, cat, and A, which are the likely areas for NaVi to go. Now, unfortunately for NaVi, Ence is going to find several kills here, but I'm going to just let you enjoy this 1v3. Fantastic play from Simple. He absolutely did more than his job in this game, and it's sad to see him lose when dropping that many kills. And that was just a great play of skill from the best player in the world, but unfortunately not able to come out on top. So the last round I'm going to show you here is round number 29, and I think this is a very important round strategically, tactically for both teams. Now, if Ence loses this round, they've basically lost the game, as their next round buy-up is going to be terrible. NaVi is going to have a slightly better buy-up, but as you know by the spoilers I've already given you, they actually will lose this round and the following. But I think this is a very important round for people to look at. Now, you will remember that I said, remember the flash that Ence threw, and that's important for this round here. Note, NaVi actually won their last round towards A. So Ence, this might play into the way Ence is playing this, but Ence has had very successful mid control so far in their half as well. So it looks like they feel that mid is a little bit easier to hold, and they're going to solo it with Alu, and they're going to do this molly ramp, wait for it, there's the flash. And as soon as that flash comes out, Electronic's ready to re-flash ramp because they know what's going on here. Now you'll notice Alu's pushed up in middle. Again, Ence has won the mid control battle, and NaVi didn't change up the way they took mid. They sent 5 men there, and with the 5 man that I showed you in the previous round, they still didn't really win that mid battle. So obviously they're not comfortable going there, and they're going to stop going there, which allows Ence to get this kind of rotation that they're going to have here. They get a feeling based off of some sort of read from NaVi, something they've done, and probably the fact that Alu is obviously kind of on cat. He's pushed up cat, which means the support is going to be late if a B execute comes out, but he is there to support. So you're going to have Alexa B is actually going to rotate towards A. And even though NaVi has a perfect read, they clearly can tell that Ence is doubling up ramp. They have that read. Someone called it, whether it's Flamey recognizing the flash or something like that. They're going to make the read, but the rotate's already come in. So you essentially will have 4 Ence players towards A for a smokeless NaVi execute because of that, pretty smart, great read. They managed to find the entry, they managed to find the next one, but unfortunately for them, with no smokes down because they thought there would only be 2A, and a rotate that's already having come in, Ence managed to shut that one down, and you've got very little utility left on NaVi, and they've got, very injured players. Now, I like what they do here. They're actually going to go completely silent, and look what this does to the map. This is the type of thing I love. I love watching strats like this. NaVi has realized that they haven't shown that they're committed towards A quite yet, which means that if they go silent, Ence is forced to cover all areas of the map. And Alu's going to be holding A. Ence obviously completely comfortable with playing a retake on A. Alexa B's on the fast flank, and X7 is still towards B because of the way NaVi went silent, and they never committed the bomb towards A. So the flank's going to come out here. Alexa B is going to be able to grab the kill on Simple. Again, he only had 6 HP. Perhaps Simple would have been able to land that shot if he had a little bit more. And this is just going to be a round that goes the way of Ence. So a fantastic read from NaVi, but unfortunately for them, the rotate had already come in because, Alu was gifted mid control and he was able to support the B player from mid like that. And it's going to end with Ence picking up their 15th round, and after that, they're going to pick up their 16th for the upset. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.